All right, so today we're going to talk about punctuations. We're going to see how to use 6 different punctuations. This is called period. This is called comma. This is called semicolon. This is called double quotes. This is called single quotes, or in certain usage, it's called apostrophe. But today we're going to talk about it as a single quote. And this is called an exclamation mark. Okay, now when do you use full stop? You use full stop at the end of a sentence. And what is a sentence? Put simply, a sentence is any group of words that um, expresses a complete thought. It starts with a capital letter and it ends with a full stop. Okay, let's say you write something like, she is a girl. Now this is a complete thought, okay? Now, like I said, a sentence begins with a capital letter, so this S won't be small. At the beginning of the sentence, it has to be capital S. Now, because this is a complete thought, you put a full stop. A sentence usually has a verb, and in this case, in this situation, is the verb. Okay, now she is a girl, full stop. Here's a complete thought. Now we have simple sentences, we have complex sentences, we have compound sentences, and we have compound complex sentences. But we're not going to talk about that today. Maybe some other time I would go into that. Now here we have a comma. So what is a comma and when is it used? Put simply, a comma is used to separate two clauses. For example, she is a girl, right? She doesn't like apples, all right? She is a girl, she doesn't like apples. Now, when you are separating two clauses that expresses complete thoughts, you need to use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. She is a girl, but she doesn't like apples. Okay, so that's one way to use a comma to separate two complete thoughts. Now, if you use a comma this way, you will need to put a coordinating conjunction like but, and, for, nor, or yet, and so. All right. You also use a comma to separate a list of items. I need oranges. I need apples, oranges, and whatnot. All right. Apples, oranges, and whatever. So you use commas to separate items in the list. Okay. Now, either you use commas to separate items in a list, or you use commas to separate clauses to complete clauses that expresses a complete thought. But when you use a comma in that way, you're going to have to put a coordinating conjunction like this. Okay. Now, what do we have here? We have a semicolon. Now, a semicolon is used. A semicolon is between a full stop and a comma. A trick is that you see this full stop up above. You see this full stop up above, and you see this comma down below. So this tells you that a semicolon is between a full stop and a comma. All right. So how do you use a semicolon? Use a semicolon to separate two complete thoughts. For example, she is a girl, She doesn't like apples. All right. Now, I just told you that when you use a comma to separate this, you should also add a coordinating conjunction. She is a girl, comma, but she doesn't like apples. Now, you can also, instead of using a comma and a coordinating conjunction, you simply use a semicolon to separate them. She is a girl, she doesn't like apples. She is a girl, and she doesn't like apples. He is a boy, semicolon, he likes football. So you use a semicolon to separate two complete thoughts, two complete ideas. They are basically sentences, right? They can stand alone. She doesn't like apples can stand alone on its own. It can stand alone. She doesn't like apples can stand alone. On the other hand, she is a girl can also stand alone. So you use a semicolon to separate them. If you want to use a comma to separate them, you add the proper coordinating conjunction for, and, but, or, nor, yet, or so. All right. Now, as for a single quote and a double quote, what makes them different? Put simply, in the British style, the default is a single quote, and you use double quotes within single quotes. In the American style, the default is the double quote, and you use single quotes within double quotes. All right, so here is a good example. We have something like this. She said, okay, why are you here? Okay, she said, why are you here? Now, on the other hand, you can also, if you choose to start with a double quote, she said, why are you here? If you choose to start with a double quote, then this will be a single quote. All right. So it's just a matter of styles. Different countries have different standards. But the idea is that you don't want to create confusion. So if you begin with a double quote, you're not going to continue with a double quote. You're not going to put a double quote here. Since you've already put one here, it's going to look strange. If you put a single quote here, you have to put a double quote here to prevent confusion. If you put a double quote here, you have to put a single quote right here to prevent confusion. All right. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that if the quote contains an apostrophe, for example, I don't like it. She said, I don't like it. Now, because this contains a single quote already, don't contains a single quote already, it contains an apostrophe, and an apostrophe looks like a single quote. It wouldn't be good to put a single quote here because that is going to create confusions. I don't like, it's going to create a confusion. Did she say I done? Because apparently it looks like this is the beginning of a quote and this is the end of a quote. To prevent that confusion, you simply put a double quote here. All right. Now finally we have an exclamation mark, and an exclamation mark is used to indicate something that a person says out of emotion, like wow, wonderful, this is crazy, you know, things that people say with emotion. What? Are you insane? Things like that people say with a loud voice, they say it out of surprise, out of shock. You use an exclamation because they are exclaiming, right? They're really exclaiming. So that's it.